It is my pleasure to invite to our bima to kindle our Shabbat candles, Robin, our Cantor's Besheret.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat.
We embark on our worship service. I begin with a prayer of gratitude for all that is holy in my life. God needs no words, no English, no Hebrew, no semantics, and no services. But I need them. Through prayer, I can sense my inner strength, my inner purpose, my inner joy, my capacity to love. As I reach upward in prayer, I sense these qualities also in my Creator. To love God is to love each other. To work to make our lives better. To love God is to love the world God created, and to work to perfect it. To love God is to love dreams of peace and joy that illumine all of us, and then to bring that vision to life. We offer thanks, O God, for this Shabbat, which unites us in faith and hope, for Shabbat holiness, which inspires sacred living, for Shabbat memories glowing even in darkness, for Shabbat peace, born of friendship and love. We offer thanks and blessing, O God. In a moment, we'll turn to Lachado Di, which is a prayer that symbolizes the union of the Sabbath bride with the Jewish people. As we immerse ourselves in Lachado Di, I think to the promises that a wedding couple would make to one another on their wedding day. And as they move forward in that marriage, they might pause from time to time and ask whether they've kept their promises. As a father, I can often remember many times when I promised something to one of my kids and remembered that they kept me true to those promises. In this past year, I myself wanted to keep up a regimen of exercise. I promised myself that I would do it, but I didn't do it, like so many of us. And I put on 5 pounds, and then 10 pounds, and then 20 pounds. And so, starting a new job here in Hollywood, I promised myself that I would go back and exercise again, and I'm so proud of myself that I, even in this busy week, was able to make it to the pool. I'm a swimmer once or twice. What promises have you let drift away this past year? What promises to yourself, to those who are close to you? What promises to our beloved community of Temple Solel? Let us honor this Shabbat, and as we enter into this Sabbath, let us pause, let us reflect, and let us recommit to those promises that we consider most holy. Lecha Dodi.
לך לך דודי לקראת לקראת כלה פני פני שבת נקבלה לך לך דודי לקראת לקראת כלה פני פני שבת נקבלה שמור וזכור בדיבור אחד ישמיענו אל המיוחד אדוני אחד ושמו אחד לשם ולתפארת ולתהילה לה 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 לך דודי לקראת לקראת כלה פני פני שבת נקבלה לך לך דודי לקראת לקראת כלה פני פני שבת נקבלה לקראת שבת לכו ונלכה כי מקור הברכה מראש מקדם נסוכה סוף מעשה במחשבה תחילה לה 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 לך דודי לקראת לקראת כלה פני פני שבת נקבלה לך לך דודי לקראת לקראת כלה פני פני שבת נקבלה התעוררי התעוררי כי בא אורך קומי אורי 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 שיר דברי כבוד אדוני עלייך נגלה לה לה לך דודי לקראת לקראת כלה פני פני שבת נקבלה לך לך דודי לקראת לקראת כלה פני פני שבת נקבלה בואי בשלום תרד בלילה גם בשמחה ובצהלה תוך אמוני עם סגולה בואי חלה בואי חלה לך דודי לקראת כלה פני שבת נקבלה לך דודי לקראת כלה פני שבת נקבלה ללי ללי לי ללי 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 לי ללי 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 לי 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 פני שבת נקבלה.
We welcome in the ministering angels of Shabbat. Shalom Aleichem, peace to each and every one of us.
La 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 Shalom Aleichem, Malachi Hasharet, Malachi Elyon. ממלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא בואכם לשלום מלאכי השלום מלאכי עליון ממלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא לה 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 La 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 ברחוני לשלום מלאכי השלום, מלאכי עליון. ממלך, ממלך, מלכי המלכים, הקדוש ברוך הוא. צאתכם לשלום, מלאכי השלום, מלאכי עליון. ממלך, ממלך, מלכי המלכים, הקדוש ברוך הוא. לה 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 La 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 la.
It is so truly awesome how we have managed through this difficult time to gather together from the disparate places of our lives, join together in the most intimate spaces. And some would say that we've been more distant, but I actually believe, and I believe you would share this thought with me, that we've actually in many ways grown closer as we've opened up our homes, opened up our hearts, opened up our lives fully to one another. And so we embark on our Baruch Hu, our call to worship, united as one in time and space for our Shabbat.
Lai 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 lai. ברכו את אדוני המבורך, ברוך אדוני המבורך לעולם ועד. ברוך אדוני המבורך לעולם ועד. לי 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 לי
Baruch atah Adonai hamariv aravim. Baruch atah Adonai ohev amo Yisrael. Bless Lord our God, who brings on our evening. Bless Lord our God, who loves the people of Israel and all people. We continue with the watchwords of our faith, our Shema, as we listen to the promises to ourselves, listen more fully to the promises to those who are closest to us. Listen to the promises that we make to God.
שמע ישראל, אדוני אלוהינו, אדוני אחד. 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 ברוך שם כבוד מלכותו לעולם ועד. ברוך שם כבוד מלכותו לעולם ועד. שמע ישראל, אדוני אלוהינו, אדוני אחד. שמע ישראל, אדוני אלוהינו, אדוני אחד.
Hear, O Israel, Adonai is our God, Adonai is one. From listening to love, we continue with our V'ahavta.
ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך, והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם לאות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם, אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים, אני אדוני אלוהיכם.
Give us a place to rest, Adonai our God. Bring us into shelter in the soft, long evening shadows of your truth. For with you are true protection and safety, and in your presence are acceptance and gentle love. Watch over us as we go forth. Prepare for us as we return. Spread over us your shelter of peace, over all we love, over our Jerusalem and yours. Baruch atah Adonai, haporez sukat shalom aleinu, v'al kol amo Yisrael, v'al Yerushalayim. We continue as we praise the Sabbath with V'shamru.
ושמרו ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. ושמרו ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. ביני ובין בני ישראל אותי לעולם, ביני ובין בני ישראל אותי לעולם. ושמרו ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ. ושמרו ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם, לדורותם ברית עולם.
Prayer invites God's presence to suffuse our spirits, God's will to prevail in our lives. Prayer may not bring water to parched fields, nor mend a broken bridge, nor rebuild a ruined city. But prayer can water an arid soul, mend a broken heart, rebuild a weakened will.
Adonai שפתי תפתח ופי יגיד תהילתך. Adonai, open my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu ואלוהי אבותינו ואמותינו, אלוהי אברהם, אלוהי יצחק ואלוהי יעקב, אלוהי שרה, אלוהי רבקה, אלוהי רחל ואלוהי לאה. האל הגדול, הגיבור והנורא, אל עליון, גומל חסדים טובים, וקונה הכל, וזוכר חסדי אבות ואימהות, ומביא גאולה לבני בניהם, למען שמו באהבה. מלך עוזר ומושיע ומגן, ברוך אתה אדוני, מגן אברהם ועזרת שרה. אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, מחיה הכל אתה, רב להושיע, מוריד הטל, מכלכל חיים בחסד, מחיה הכל ברחמים רבים, סומך נופלים ורופא חולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר. מי כמוך בעל גבורות, ומי דומה לך, מלך ממית ומחיה, ומצמיח ישועה, ונאמן אתה להחיות הכל. ברוך אתה אדוני, מחיה הכל.
You're holy, your name is holy, and those who are holy praise you every day. Bless you, Adonai, the holy God. Baruch atah Adonai, ha'el, ha'kadosh. May these hours of rest and renewal open our hearts to joy and our minds to truth. May all who struggle find rest on this day. May all who suffer find solace. May all who hurt find healing on this day. May all who despair find purpose. May all hunger find fulfillment on this day, and may this day fulfill its divine promise. Baruch atah Adonai, Mekadesh HaShabbat. You are with us in our prayer, our love, and our doubt, in our longing to feel your presence and do your will. You are the still, clear voice within us. Therefore, O God, when doubt troubles us, when anxiety makes us tremble, when pain clouds our minds, we look inward for the answer to our prayers. There may we find you, and there find courage, insight, and endurance. And let our worship bring us closer to one another, that all Israel and all who may seek you may find new strength for your service. Baruch atah Adonai, she'otcha levadcha bira na'avo. God of goodness, we give thanks for the gift of life, wonder beyond words, the awareness of soul, our light within, for the world around us so filled with beauty, for the richness of the earth which day by day sustains us. For all these and more, we offer thanks. Baruch atah Adonai, hatov shimcha, l'cha na'eh, l'hodo. Grant us peace, your most precious gift, O eternal source of peace, and give us the will to proclaim its message to all the peoples of the earth. Bless our country as a safeguard of peace, its advocate among the nations. May contentment reign within our borders, health and happiness within our homes. Strengthen the bonds of friendship and fellowship among all the inhabitants of every land. Plant virtue in every soul, and may the love of your name hallow every home and every heart. Praise to you, Eternal One, who blesses our people and all people with peace. Baruch atah Adonai, hamvarech et amo Yisrael, b'shalom. We take now a few moments of silent prayer and private reflection, words that speak to us from the still quiet places, or that may spring from our hearts.
עושה שלום במרומה, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל, ואמרו אמן. הוא עושה שלום במרומה, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל, ואמרו אמן. יעשה שלום, יעשה שלום, שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל, יעשה שלום, יעשה שלום, שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל. יעשה שלום, יעשה שלום, שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל. יעשה שלום, יעשה שלום, שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל. יעשה שלום, יעשה שלום, שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל.
Now take a moment to offer a prayer of healing of body, mind, and spirit to those members of our families, our congregational families, or even perhaps to ourselves. Our prayers turn especially to all those impacted, the families, the friends, and beyond of the Surfside community. O source of healing, guide the skilled hands, the caring hearts of all those who are supporting those who are ill. Grant comfort to all those who have difficult decisions to make and tasks to perform, and give the strength of your ever-loving presence to all those who are in pain, that they may be relieved from suffering and restored more whole once again. On this Shabbat Eve, we embrace and lift up in prayer Ann Becker, Richard Blanky, Abe Cohen, Fran Cohen, Jane Gambardella, Seth Gelwasser, Barbara Gillick, Dr. Robert Greenstein, Don Harvey, Larry Jurist, Ida Kachurka, Hannah Cates, Phyllis Lewis, Fred Matz, Elwood Powers, Diana Ramos, Michelle Robinson, Gabrielle Rosenthal, Randy Shattenkirk, Ray Strauss, Charlie Wolf, and Martin Zoffman. We continue to lift up body, mind, and spirit.
מי שברך אבותינו אברהם, יצחק ויעקב, שרה, רבקה, רחל ולאה, הוא יברך וירפא את החולים. מי שברך אבותינו אברהם, יצחק ויעקב, שרה, רבקה, רחל ולאה, הוא יברך וירפא את החולים. אלנה רפנה לה, אלנה רפנה לה, אלנה רפנה לה, אלנה רפנה לה. מי שברך אבותינו אברהם יצחק ויעקב, שרה רבקה רחל ולאה, הוא יברך וירפא את החולים.
Don't leave home without it. Some of us are familiar with that American Express slogan. If you're in the marketing world or advertising world, you might know "Don't leave home without it" was created by a young copy editor, David Ogilvy, in 1973, who later became known as the father of advertising. If you watched the series Mad Men, David Ogilvy would have had the largest corner office on Madison Avenue. In fact, "Don't leave home without it," the campaign was so successful that it ran nonstop for 25 years. For me, right now, it's not an Amex card, but my GPS that I'm not leaving home without it. As the new guy in town, without my GPS, I would be, I assure you, utterly lost. People ask me, "Rabbi, where are you living?" I offer, it's about 10 to 15 minutes from the temple. And then I mention the name Pine Island Ridge. Most have heard of it, but then I do get the blank stares or the awkward silences. "What's that near?" I answered the other day, honestly, but also jokingly, "I really don't know what it's near. Some trees, a few roads, and probably a Publix." Before GPS, that's almost like saying before BCE nowadays. I still remember, don't you perhaps, people actually giving directions? Turn right there, then go another 2 lefts, then stay on the road for about 10 miles, and then it's your first turn on the left after that. Those types of directions never worked for me. I never gave them, and I certainly couldn't follow them. For me, what was more effective was somewhat like this. Go until you see the elementary school on the left, and then make a right when you go past the McDonald's. And you'll reach a busy intersection, and then you'll see a row of dogwoods. Go to the end of the road and make a right, and it's the third house on the left, the one with the yellow shutters. It's the associations visually and also the names and special places that I found to be helpful. The retelling of our lives also requires directions. The retelling of our lives also require guideposts to let others know what's happened in our lives. So I'll start. In 1976, I was born in DC. Then I lived in Virginia for a year. Then I lived in Maryland for the next many years of my life until I moved to Philadelphia in 1994. And then I left to go to New York in 2001. And then I spent some time in Chicago and Columbus. And then I lived in Cincinnati. And I could go on and on like this. But no one ever really, if we think about it, retells the accounting of those tremendous aspects of the milestones of their lives this way. Instead, we say, I grew up in a home, a loving home with 3 sisters, 2 dogs, and my dad was an accountant. That, by the way, is my wife, Michelle. Or someone might say, I met my wonderful husband at a party with friends. Or I went to university where I met my lifelong buddy. It's a name of people and the places that pull at our heartstrings which truly provide the accounting of our lives. The Parsha this week provides an accounting of the Israelites' journey through their time in the desert. That's what the Parsha is actually named after, Maaseh, journey. It literally lists the 42 encampments as the Israelites journeyed. Most of the places are recounted elsewhere in the Torah, but not all of them as they're listed in this Parsha. And so, of course, this begs the question, why? Why are there certain places not worthy of being mentioned elsewhere, but then they find themselves right here in the Parsha, all mentioned? Certainly, modern scholars don't have an answer. Can't tell you where the encampments were, might have been. But the ancient rabbis do provide, of course, all sorts of explanations. So allow me for a moment to provide perhaps one meaningful explanation of my own. Maybe one reason is that there is a deliberate attempt to have a proper and full accounting here, because elsewhere in the Torah there's an intentional choice to not signify, to not mention a particular place or moment in time, to intentionally leave out one of the encampments. As an example, it would be like saying, I went to a place called Not Happening. What happened at Not Happening? Well, nothing happened at Not Happening. Who was at Not Happening? No one was at Not Happening because it's not happening. When did you go to Not Happening? I can't tell you that either because, yes, you guessed it, it's not happening. Well, please let me know. Was there a gas station at Not Happening? Nope, not happening. Not Happening is a place we've all been to, but we don't want to talk about it. It's what? It's not happening. Not Happening is a story that has shaped us, formed us, but we want to suppress it. Sometimes that choice to not tell a story, that tape in our heads, is healthy. But sometimes we are not discussing it or sharing about it or reflecting upon it because it is so painful that sharing it, bringing it to the surface, would cause us an impossibility of holding us and holding us back. If you want to know the whole story of a people, though, Not Happening can't happen. It's sort of like I'm hearing an archivist, you know it, or a librarian, or historian, or perhaps even an accountant, demanding to know more about Not Happening. But our lives are more than simply an accounting of dates, names, and places. Sometimes moments were so difficult in the past that we just didn't have the courage or desire to express it then. Maybe even we might have even struggled to find the right words, even if we wanted to bring it forward. Maybe we attended a class, or took on a work project, or a volunteer activity, and the substance of the subject felt dull and boring and went totally over our heads. Or maybe we had a bad encounter with someone that made us feel bad, and we just didn't want to deal with it, and so we just walked away. But what about being heard, not at that time, but perhaps now, in Maaseh, in our day, as we're reflecting on our lives? Are we being held back? Held back by a project, or perhaps held back from an interest that today might be really compelling if offered in a different fashion? Or what if we had walked away from a special place, a group of friends, a family because of one person or two, and now perhaps that person has changed, or maybe they're not even there? Sometimes in the GPS of life, our memories, our experience of the past hold us back. So how do we move forward? How do we move past these painful experiences of our past so that we can fully enjoy the life that God intends for us? Maaseh, the Parsha, is perhaps saying, that it's okay to consider as we reflect on our past experiences, maybe it's worthwhile to name those moments. How do we do this? Maybe easier said than done. One way is to ask permission for ourselves or give someone else who had that painful experience the permission to be heard. Taking a moment to talk it out or be heard of an experience of a difficult time may be all that's necessary then to move forward. It doesn't necessarily even require an adjudication or a remedy for a past difficult event. Sometimes we just want to be heard. We just want to know that someone else is listening and acknowledging our story. With whom do we share our stories of not happening encampments? Perhaps a therapist, a lifelong partner, a very close friend. Perhaps even I would be honored humbly as your rabbi. But let me also propose that we can also seek to share those experiences from the depths of our souls with God. God knows all the encampments of the Jewish people in the 42 years in the desert. God knows where we've been. God is the eternal. God is omnipresent. Maybe by naming these additional encampments in our Parsha, God is giving the Jewish people the opportunity to be heard by God. God knows what happened in our not happening encampments. Perhaps God wishes for us to express what happened through the prism of our humanity. Perhaps the next time you feel transported in a special place at a special time, perhaps even on Shabbat during a beautiful prayer or hymn, consider entrusting to God, sharing, listening to yourself, to your friends, to your family, listening to God and sharing, because God knows. With the arrival of every new rabbi, there is a possibility of a new beginning. So let's benefit from this moment for ourselves, our family, our friends, to honor the journeys of our lives. Maybe take the time to listen to ourselves and one another. And if necessary, let's honor those encampments of our lives that may be holding us back. Let's make space for those who perhaps found their way beyond our sanctuary doors, perhaps even beyond our community of Solel, who may even, at another time of life, never even been at Solel, and walked away from an experience and walked away from God. Perhaps even perhaps ourselves, we've done this. We need not be imprisoned by our encampments, not our encampments of our past. In a sacred community, we can live out a Judaism of freedom, of hope, and of peace that empowers us to share and trust God with our voices, with our many voices. I'm honored to be on this journey with you, where we honor our past, but not live in the past, by listening and living together as one. Shabbat Shalom. We rise in body or in spirit for the adoration.
עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי ארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל עמונם, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא.
be seated. Let the time not be distant, O God, when all shall turn to you in love. When corruption and evil shall give way to integrity and goodness, when superstition shall no longer enslave the mind, nor idolatry blind the eye, but may all created in your image become one in spirit and one in friendship, forever united in your service. Then shall your realm be established on earth, and the word of your prophet fulfilled. Adonai will reign forever and ever.
ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד ושמו
We turn to a mournful meditation. יש כוכבים שרה מגיע ארצה רק כאשר הם עצמם עבדו ואינם. יש אנשים סביב זכרם מאיר כאשר הם עצמם אינם עוד בתוכנו. אורות אלה המפיקים בהשקת הליל, הם שמראים לאדם את הדרך. There are stars up above, so far away we only see their light, long after the star itself is gone. And so it is with people that we loved. Their memories keep shining ever brightly, though their time with us is done. But the stars that light up the darkest night, these are the lights that guide us. As we live our days, these are the ways that we remember. Our hearts turn especially to our mourners who are in deep sorrow and have recently sustained a loss of a loved one. We offer prayers of comfort, solace, and strength. We remember Beatrice Belsky, Irving Berlin, James Breakstone, Florence Brazel, Jaime Brodsky, Marshall Claver, Adalbert Dan, Robert Davidoff, Joseph Fleischer, Rochelle Furman, Lawrence Gannon, Fred Glucksman, Rose Gobioff, Sarah Gordon, Mordecai Holland, Jay Kimmelman, Erna Klass, Elliot Kleiman, George Cronengold, Jack Kuznets, Gertrude Landau, George Lewis, Helene Livingston, Bella Lynn, Flora Margolin, Joseph McCullough, Shirley Miller, Ann Monfred, Benjamin Morris, Joseph Nash, Joseph Nyman, Ann Orlov, Samuel Page, Charles Plost, Louis Posner, Albert Rabb, Mildred Rabinowitz, Sylvia Rubin, Louis Rudnick, Blanche Rudolph, Sylvia Schwartz, Fred Sherman, Ida Schneider, Yetta Siegel, Wolf Silver, Arthur Sterner, Michael Thompson, Herbert Vandelin, and Istvan Vesey. We continue now with the Mortar's Kaddish as we rise in body or in spirit. Yikadal v'yikadash me Rabba, v'amad divrach yirtei v'amlich malchutei, v'chayachon v'yomechon v'chayei dechol beit Yisrael, b'gala v'zman kariv v'imru amen. Yehi shmei Rabba mevorach le'lam umei amaya. V'barach v'yishtabach v'par v'yitramam v'naseh. V'tadar v'taleh v'talal shmei dekudesha b'richu. Le'lam inkol berchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechamata. Damiram be'ama v'imru amen. Yehi shlama Rabba min shemaya. V'chaim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom b'mirmav hu yaseh shalom. Aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. May the one who creates harmony on high bring peace to us, to all Israel, and to all who mourn, to which we offer. Amen. It's my pleasure to call forward Matt Littman, David Topping, who will offer to us some words of announcements for our Shabbat.
Shabbat Shalom. First, I'd like to just say what an honor and privilege and how great it feels to be back in my favorite sacred space between Rabbi and Cantor. It really does feel good. And now I will do the accounting of tonight's Family of Solel announcements. Temple Solel makes Judaism vital, relevant, positive, and lasting. We work tirelessly to ensure that the beauty, depth, ethics, and joy of Judaism has brought to life, not just for our members, but for all of you. By making Temple Solel a philanthropic priority in your life, you are not just sustaining your synagogue today, you're helping to ensure the strength of our welcoming model of Judaism for generations to come. The Greater Miami Jewish Federation has opened an emergency assistance fund for the short and long-term needs of those in our community affected by the tragic collapse of the Chaplain Towers South in Surfside. Please refer to our Solel Pathfinder or visit our website for more information on how you can donate. We'd like to thank those congregants who have generously donated to the Welcome Rabbi Ari Plost Fund so far. We encourage those that have not donated yet to take the time and give what you can. Please again refer to our Solel Pathfinder for more information, or you can go directly to the donate page on our website. A very special thank you, Toda Rabbi, to Bob Pomerantz for his generous donation to the Technology Fund and Welcome Rabbi Plost Fund. His generosity has fully funded the technology needed to upgrade the virtual streaming experience from Temple Solel. If you get a chance, I encourage you to read Rabbi Plost's letter to the congregation in today's Solel Pathfinder. It was heartfelt, funny, and inspiring as he told the story of his meeting with our very own Rabbi Rosen, watching 51 years of history together with the new vision of Solel's future gives us all hope. As last year's term of service for committee members has ended, we're now looking for new members to join our various Temple Solel committees in support of our mission. These committees have ushered in so many successful initiatives under their current leadership, and we are excited to find the next group of members who can continue bringing good ideas to the congregation. The success of our temple is dependent upon those ideas, efforts, and knowledge. We look forward to working with each and every one of you. If you can contact the temple and let us know that you have an interest, we would really appreciate it. For all of our virtual live events, you can join us in one of two ways. First, on the temple's Facebook live stream, or you can join us on our website at templesolel.com/live-feed. Here's a list of our upcoming events. Tomorrow morning at 9:30, please join Rabbi Plost as we further our knowledge of the Torah and learn how to apply its teachings to our current lives. We allow the exchange of ideas in an unbiased, comfortable, welcoming, and sincere environment. Temple members can join us on Zoom. Please refer to today's Pathfinder for the meeting credentials. And we're back again next Friday night for Shabbat Services starting at 7:30. You can always join us again on Facebook, YouTube, or on our live streaming page on our website. Temple members are always invited to join us on Zoom starting at 7, and then again right after services for our virtual Zoom Oneg Shabbat. We ask that all of you stay safe, and we pray everyone is in good health. Shabbat Shalom, and may we all come together very, very soon. Thank you.
We continue as we bless our Shabbat and consecrate our Shabbat with our Kiddush.
ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם בורא פרי הגפן ברוך ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם, אשר קידשנו במצוותיו ורצה בנו, ושבת קודשו באהבה וברצון הנחילנו, זיכרון למעשה וראשית, כי הוא יום תחילה למקראי קודש, זכר ליציאת מצרים. כי בנו בחרת ואותנו קידשת מכל העמים, ושבת קודשך באהבה וברצון הנחלתנו. ברוך אתה אדוני מקדש 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 השבת. אמן. לחיים.
לחיים, לחיים, לחיים. Baruch Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Amen. We conclude our service with our concluding hymn, an oldie but a goodie, Adon Olam.
אדון עולם אשר מלך, בטרם כל יציר נברא, לעת נשא בחפצו כל, אזי מלך שמו נקרא, ואחרי ככלות הכל, לבדו ימלוך נורא. והוא היה והוא הווה והוא יהיה בתפארה, אדון עולם אשר מלך, בטרם כל יציר נברא, לעת נשא בחפצו כל, אזי מלך שמו נקרא. בידו אפקיד רוחי בעת אישן והעירה, ואם רוחי גווייתי, אדוני לי ולא אירא. אדון עולם אשר מלך, בטרם כל יציר נברא, לעת נשא בחפצו כל, אזי מלך שמו נקרא.
May we honor the divine within us, the divine among us, the divine that transcends us, that we not be imprisoned by our past, that we share fully our stories with one another, that we enjoy life, sacred community to its fullest. Shabbat Shalom.